We're welcoming next David Abraham, who is Channel 4's CEO. And in the few months since his arrival, he's already made a significant difference to the channel. I have actually known David since 80-something. I think we were both children when we started, when we were both lowly graduate trainees at an ad agency called Benton and Bowles, which was the Mad Men of its day, except not for the media department. David was a founding partner and COO at St Luke's and subsequently ran Discovery Networks and then UK TV, where he created the highly successful and innovative Dave channel. And it's a huge pleasure to welcome him to speak to us today. David.
Thanks very much, Sue, for that kind introduction. I'm going to talk about two things today. Effectively, what I think is going to happen to television over the next 5 years, and what's the sort of changing business model that's going to underpin the way the market's going to develop. And I start from I start very much from the sort of glass half full position. I think during the depths of the downturn, there were many questions about the viability of free-to-air ad-funded broadcasting, and we had this sort of line that potentially was sort of going down to zero, and we were being told that the internet and the distribution of TV through the internet was going to sort of take over. What's been interesting, obviously, about 2010 is there's been a pretty sharp recovery in television, in linear television advertising revenues, and I suppose that's sort of given pause to the theory that the model's completely broken. But obviously, in our mind, it doesn't mean to say that change isn't coming, fundamental change isn't coming. But I think it's slightly different to the change that we've been perhaps talking about, where we've been talking about these platforms that are perhaps eating each other. And for me, what I'd like to talk about this morning is the power of convergence and some of the things that are going to be happening over the next 12 months and how they're going to change the consumer experience, and then how it's going to challenge and challenge us to change some of the business models that we're working with. So let's share a few stats to start with. We know that people are watching more TV than ever. Average viewing was up in 2009. And that's because, in our view, TV is getting better. We're buying 50% more TVs a year than we were 4 years ago. Screen sizes are getting bigger. A third of TVs sold this year were over 50 inches. There's more choice. 70% of second sets are now digital. BBC iPlayer and 4OD are available in Virgin and soon on PS3. It's increasingly in HD and even for some 3D. And effectively, TV is now obviously moving as we look at iPhones and tablets coming onto the marketplace. And this is just the beginning, as genuine convergence finally becomes a mainstream reality. In the UK next year, we'll see a whole range of connected TV devices launching. Google TV, YouView, and we forecast connected TVs to be the primary TV viewing device in 10 million homes within the next 4 years. Connected TVs will enable viewers to find and watch the TV they want to watch, offering instant access to our linear and our on-demand content and applications. So TV is about to get better yet again. In 2011, Channel 4, the BBC, ITV, Channel 5, TalkTalk, BT and Arqiva will launch YouView. It'll be the world's first truly converged media platform. Put simply, what YouView does in the mass market, in the mainstream, is to put linear TV and broadband together. So effectively, it's your aerial connecting with your broadband through a box and eventually through a chip that will be in your TV, as Freeview has become. And obviously this is an important innovation for the concept of free-to-air, public service orientated television. So it's a big priority for us. So what I thought I'd do as a almost world premiere, because we had our big agency upfronts last night and we showed this video to everyone to introduce the idea of YouView. So if we could attempt to play the first video, please.
Attempt being about.
Where do you want to start? Everyone loves great TVs. This is great. but it's still frustrating when you miss something. And it's never quite the same on a computer.
I'll see you next time.
Imagine enjoying every moment all on your own TV. We're a group of companies already famous for unmissable TV and great broadband. Together we're going to change TV forever. Introducing YouView. YouView brings you all your favorite digital TV channels and adds the best catch-up TV services. That means while normal TV guides only show you what's on now or later, the YouView guide will also go back in time, so you can watch what was on yesterday, or even last week. It's such a breakthrough! You'll also be able to watch in high definition. And you can pause and rewind live TV. Plus, there'll be a huge choice of on-demand pay TV, including films, sports, and US drama.
It's all that people want.
But this is just the beginning. You'll get all kinds of content through YouView from all sorts of providers. And once developers start creating apps, who knows what your TV could do? All you'll need is your TV and broadband, plus a YouView box.
Is that a dream, or did that just happen?
The programs you love ready and waiting, whenever you want them. YouView. It will change the way you watch TV forever.
So I think that's a pretty compelling and exciting future for free-to-air television, and I think it marks a new moment of opportunity. Some of our upfront content now. Videotastic. More of that later. So, I mean, why is this, I think, kind of something very new from an advertising point of view? Well, I think we've sort of got this whole debate about on-demand, online, and linear all sort of mixed up because we've watched for over a decade platforms growing from fundamentally different places. And what, for me, the power of convergence is the power of getting these different media to work together in very, very compelling ways. We already know that linear television has an exponentially greater ability to drive on-demand viewing than on-demand viewing in a PC solar space. So to explain that, if you look, for example, at Virgin Media and the usage of the iPlayer, what you see is a much greater level of usage of the iPlayer in those homes because it is on the main screen. And actually, iPlayer on Virgin is still quite a sort of clunky experience to get to. But YouView, as I hope you could see there, will be a very seamless, very simple way in which the viewer really doesn't know and doesn't care how the broadband and the linear feed is working together. It's a very efficient use of technology. Broadcasting sort of, one-to-many is profoundly economic. It's a great way of reaching a lot of people. And there's a big debate going on as to whether or not we need sort of 1 gigabit to the home broadband in order to replicate what is a wonderful transmission system. Why would we want to do that? What YouView is saying is actually use the broadband connection for on-demand, but don't expect the broadband connection to be the main distribution mechanism because it's fundamentally and profoundly inefficient. That's why all these debates are coming up about net neutrality and capacity on the broadband system. And politicians would love for us to have Korean-style speeds on our broadband systems, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. So what YouView provides is a really smart solution because it says predominantly we are still expecting people to be following linear television. But as you could see there, suddenly you can go back 7 days as well as forward 7 days. So the whole relationship you have with your PVR is very different. And so you're going to be mediating your relationship with your viewers through your branded channel propositions, and your on-demand content will sit behind that linear experience much more closely. You won't be going away into a red button application or going out to a completely different world on the PC. And I think in a sense, for my mum, if that's a sort of, core target here, we've got the Freeview audience. That Freeview distribution platform is in 10 million homes. It is in effect the free-to-air broadcast system of this country now. We've now got the opportunity to upgrade it over time and provide those mainstream homes that have broadband with an opportunity to connect the on-demand and the linear together. And once we've done that, I think we could then start working on some amazingly exciting things with advertisers, because you'll be able to traverse a journey with us as a broadcaster in a much deeper and richer way. You'll be able to, for example, sponsor a show on a linear feed, for example, Jamie Oliver's show when it comes out, but you'll then be sort of going on a sponsored journey through the VOD stack of that show that sits behind that linear feed that we know people will go back to when they're enjoying the show or after they've enjoyed the show as an alternative to carrying on the linear feed. So then, you'll be able to sort of enrich your messages as you go deeper into the content. And who's to say you then might, if you're a food advertiser, not want to sponsor the recipe information that then sits on the space between the online content and the VOD content. Because, of course, there are 3 levels to this: the linear content, the on-demand content, and the online content. And the online content that supports television programs, as we know, is very, very rich and very, very interactive. So we've only just begun to scratch the surface of what I think we as a broadcaster, particularly at Channel 4, are intending to be able to offer you as advertisers, which I think will be tremendously creatively exciting. And I think it will build on a tradition that we've had for many years of being very creative media partners and in the sponsorship area, working with great creative work to help to propel your messages through within the content. So this, for me, is sort of, in a way, what branded content really might look like in the future. This much more intimate, interesting relationship between the content and you as brand owners. And it's going to take a lot of organisational change, and I'm going to touch on a couple of things shortly. But what I wanted to do next is to sort of pull back and give you an example of how, when one thinks about convergence in creative terms, you get some amazing ideas. And we're just about to launch at the end of this month the first brand campaign for Channel 4 that's been done for probably around 5 years. And you probably remember, and we all loved that great campaign with famous Channel 4 talent coming on the screen and giving their thoughts about life. Do you remember that? It was the Four Faces campaign. And we wanted to sort of build on that and do something that was really much for the converged age. So what we're going to do is launch a campaign called Twist, which is going to be around, hopefully, for years, ultimately. And it's the world's first truly converged marketing campaign. What it does is it allows our viewers to interact with our talent using the power of convergence. So to explain this, my able assistant hopefully will fire up the next video, and then I'll explain how it works.
Good afternoon. This is
So what we're going to do, so all of our talent have recorded literally hundreds of words, so that becomes thousands very quickly. It's like that fridge magnet poetry that we've all got at home. And effectively, you can say almost anything using the website. And then the best of what the viewers do, we will put on air. So our viewers will be helping us to do our continuity. So to give you a bit of a flavour for what can be done with this, what's happening on the next video? He needs a drink. He's getting so excited.
I was getting you a water.
Thank you so much. So these were a couple of things we showed at our upfronts last night. Is that right? The next two. So these are sort of a couple that Andy Barnes, our head of sales, did and showed last night, which is quite fun.
Chris Block. Fucking
about
and
Joe.
your money. So, Zenith,
What?
do you think of 2011? Is it over?
Okay, what am I showing now? All right. So then the last two are we sort of got. The last one, we got Jamie and Gordon to do one of these twists, and this is what they did.
Mine is harder than your dad.